Good evening. Welcome to the Public Services Subcommittee, Tuesday evening, November 26, 2024, at 7 p.m. here in the Wigan Auditorium. Tonight, we'll be discussing the Adopt a Cemetery program as proposed by the Historical Commission. Here to speak on behalf of the Historical Commission would be Chairman Jeffrey Budd. If Chairman Budd would like to come up. You're more than welcome to sit at the chair next to me. Mr. Budd, my apologies. I neglected. The mayor wanted to speak very briefly before he went off to his school committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to you. Good evening, councilors. Hope everybody's doing well. I just want to be very brief. We have a group here, the Historical Commission, that I just wanted to take a moment to thank publicly for the work they've done. The projects that they've worked on have really made a difference in this city, and we have an outstanding collection. I think all of you know that, of people committed to the city, preserving our city's history. We do have a great history in the city, and I feel like even more the last couple of years, the Historical Commission has really elevated the work that they've done to really make a difference in the city. Our cemeteries, you can just see the difference, and there's a lot more coming that this team is working on. And some exciting with the 250th celebrations we have coming up in 2025, 2026 to honor some great history in our communities, and we've already started to do some work on that. And I just wanted to publicly thank Chairman Jeff Budd and the whole team here that have done really a tremendous job. Mayor Bonfanti has been a great leader in that respect as well in the projects that's been taking place. And I also wanted to give special kudos to Lisa Green. Lisa has really contributed greatly to the work they do. She's a true professional that does excellent work, and really wanted to, again, just take a minute to show my appreciation for everybody here tonight. I know you're going to be talking about the Adopt a Cemetery program, which is very exciting, and has already been some interest, and I think it'll be a great project moving forward. But thank all of you for your hard work and everything for the community. It's very much appreciated by me, and I know all the city council, so thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for letting me have that minute.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Mr. Budd, if you could, just press the button and identify yourself with your name and address for the record.
Okay. I am Chairman Jeff Budd of the Peabody Historical Commission, and I'm here tonight asking for support for our Adopt a Cemetery program that we want to get off the ground. This is not the first iteration of this program. This program was originally started back in the mid-1990s, and it was under the name of the Peabody Graveyard Coalition. The coalition had gone through and had documented all our historic cemeteries back then with the help of the chairman at the time, Bill Power of the Historical Commission and Society, and people like Ann Berkner and Andy Metropolis. So moving forward, they had sponsors for these cemeteries. The cemeteries were being taken care of. In the early 2000s, this program died when Bill Power left the city, and it's been squandering ever since. And what brought about again, which has been in the works for the last 4 or 5 years that we've talked about things like this, was we would go out and do flagging every May for Memorial Day. And to go into these cemeteries was getting harder and harder for us, to the point where some people were falling, and we had a seat, and we saw what was happening, especially in cemeteries like the Old South, where we also now had homeless people in there. So it came about more so last year. It was brought up. We had it, spoke about it at our meetings, and finally, with the help of Lisa Green, we've researched it at different towns and cities as far down as Georgia as to what kind of program or how this program could be in place. And we've come up with a program. We're still finalizing it. We'll be working on the cemeteries because some cemeteries right now we don't want the average citizens going into until we have some sort of professional help in there to help clean them up. So again, in moving forward with this, we've got our applications together. We're developing signage to put up to recognize the people that take care of these cemeteries, whether they be the citizens of this city or business people at this point, and we'll have that done too before the program really gets off. We have taken this, we have a prototype running now where a couple of people have already started doing work. We have this Joanne LaValle over in West Peabody off of Glen Drive working on the Russell Upton Cemetery. And we have this Bob Takvorian who's been working on the Gardner Cemetery. So with that, and basically what this program entails is just going in and doing the cleanup. When it comes to the restoration of the stones, that'll be left to the Historical Commission. Now, just to make it clear, the other cemeteries, we've also done major work at the Old South and at the Emerson. And once we're totally through with those cemeteries, we expect the cemetery department to do the upkeep on it, which they have been. And also, if there's any problems there with stones, to let us know, since we have the experience with that.
Thank you very much. Before I open it up to the committee, does anybody else from the Historical Commission would anybody like to speak or anything to add to that? More than welcome. With that, I'll open it up to the committee if anybody has any questions or suggestions. Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a wonderful program and run by such committed volunteers, and the fact that so many of you are out here tonight on a rainy, cold Tuesday in support of putting this forward, really shows the dedication that we have in our volunteers in the city. And the wonderful work that you've all done with the cemeteries are just beautiful and phenomenal. So I support this 100%. I just have one concern that maybe we can take a look at and maybe tweak it a little bit so this kind of doesn't have any issues moving forward, would be on page, might be 2 or 3 of your packet. Page 3, under Adopt a Cemetery Rules and Regulations, it would be 6C. It says, do not bring alcohol, weapons, or entertainment items onto the cemeteries. And just so that we didn't get into any Second Amendment issues, I don't know if it's necessary that we say weapons, that we not bring weapons on. So I would think that we wouldn't want to just infringe on anything like that unintentionally. I don't think it's necessary to state that needs to be there, that there are no weapons on site, given it's a Second Amendment issue. So that's a suggestion that I have. And
No, we'll take that under advisement. And
okay.
I think, that would be a good point, though, to...
Yeah, and I would think that alcohol also is, you can put it in here, but I think it's already unlawful. It's already illegal to, I think, have public drinking in the cemetery. But if you wanted to stress that, you could leave it in there. But I'm just pointing it out that some of these things might not necessarily be needed in the application. But certainly weapons is something I think we should reconsider. Thank you.
Chairman Budd, you're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But as far as the alcohol, I know City of Boston, on some of their signage going into their cemeteries, mentions alcohol.
Then absolutely, then we can reinforce that, that it's not lawful or wanted, so that they shouldn't. So thank you. I would strike that then. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Councilor Gamache.
Yes, thank you. And I too welcome the Historical Commission to bring this forward to us. It's an important matter. I've dealt with a couple of the commissions to review some of these things, especially the one up at 286 Newbury Street. And this application is fairly it's well-written. It hits all the points that you want to make sure that who's ever going in there will respect what they're doing and take care of everything and make sure that they leave it in a fashion that's better than what it was when they got there. So I am more than happy to see that we finally brought this back. It's a necessary tool that we have. You can't keep up all these cemeteries without help. And as I alluded to earlier, a couple of members of the board, get a landscape company to adopt a cemetery. They go in 3 times a year, once in the spring, clean it up, once in the summer to cut it, or twice in the summer and cut it, and in the fall cleanup. And that's basically it. And that's so important that we have these people available, and especially if we can get these local landscapers to come in that are professionals that will be able to do it and know what the upkeep would be. So I'm very happy that we got this before us, and hopefully we can get you guys to move ahead on the application process and start it up for the spring. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Gamache.
Council Melville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is a great program. I walk Cedar Grove quite often, and it's a testament to the work that you've done on restoration. Because I was part of, I'll walk by the Old South burial ground and the Emerson, and both of which, there's some interesting folks that are buried there and important stuff. And also just on the upkeep, when you talk about some of the encampment issues that you've had at I think it was the South burial ground, where there was, I remember doing the cleanup on the Pride and Peabody Day. So like the ongoing maintenance that's required of the public with either trash or just what's being left behind. I mean, there were like 3 truckloads worth of things that had to be taken out of there that day. But I think this is fantastic. Also, like what a great job the Historical Commission has done on identifying within these burial grounds some of the people that are buried there, so that you can kind of, when you're walking through, you kind of know the background of some of the folks that are buried there, and the work that's been done on some of the veteran plaques. I remember years ago there was some overgrowth on some of the plaques for veterans, and that has been maintained since, and it's done just a fantastic job. I know D'Amato's Landscaping has been doing some work. I've seen them in action up there, and they do a really nice job with the weed whacking around those areas. So anything we can do to support, I think this is a fantastic program, and I think it really does benefit the city overall. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Rossignol.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. I just want to echo the sentiments of my counterpart, Councilor Melville. I'm in full support of this, and I can't wait to really get started, to be honest with you. What you've already accomplished in the cemeteries that you've already kind of addressed has been miraculous, and I can't wait to see where this program goes. And if there's anything that the Historical Society needs from us, please don't hesitate to reach out. So thank you.
Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not on this committee. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I would add my thanks to the Historic Commission for bringing back this program. I remember it well, the first iteration of this in the 90s. It was going pretty well early on there, but it kind of lost some steam, as you kind of pointed out in your overview comments. So I'd just be curious, from an administration standpoint, do you have the resources you need to make sure that we don't end up in the same place? Is it your vision that the commission will oversee this with the help of the limited administrative staff that you have?
That's the plan at this point in time. We have the resources where the previous program, didn't have that administrative resource totally in place. And when one person stepped away, it just fell apart. The interest in it is such, and it languished. And I know when, we ended up cleaning up a lot of the signs of sponsors that have since moved out of Peabody, too. So we feel we have a better shot at it this time administratively.
That makes sense. And so would they need to, kind of in an attempt to make sure you keep it fresh and you keep them engaged, would they need to re-up annually to make sure they continue to be committed to it so that we don't just kind of assume?
Well, you know, we have the 1 year, they have to, after a year, they have to renew the contract that they've signed with us. So that keeps it fresh, and also changing, if people want to drop out and we have a waiting list, then it's even better at this point, you know, so.
Great. Well, I hope you do have a waiting list. That would be a really good problem to have. How many of the, I used to know this number, but how many cemeteries are there that we're talking about?
To correct it, I know at one point, just quick history, at one point we had 60 cemeteries in this city. If we look, and I just went over the counts with Dave and Andy, that it is now down to 30. And if we take out the 4 cemeteries that the 3 cemeteries and the memorial stone that the cemetery department takes care of, it brings it down to 26. And right now, 2 of those cemeteries out of the 26 are actually taken care of by the families, the descendants of the families in there. There's the King Cemetery on Lowell Street and the Felton Cemetery on Prospect. So those families exist. So it brings us down to 24 cemeteries that we have to, that we will put up for adoption.
So just so I understand, the number of cemeteries can't really decrease. The count decreases because others have accepted long-term responsibility for maintenance. Is that correct?
Correct.
So are any of those remaining cemeteries on private property, or is it?
One is.
And do you have the permissions from the property owner?
This has been a headache that's gone back to the late 1990s. It's 6 Peterson Road. It is the Upton Cemetery, and we believe there have been stones. You know, we're not really sure about that property. I know maybe Andy Metropolis can add. So we don't know exactly whether the stones are still there. The last time was in about 2017. We have a photo of stones there. We don't know because more work has been done at the home. As far as when you look at the layout of how the cemetery was laid out in there, matching the property, and they've built over some areas in that property. Now, I know back then when it was believed that some stones were moved, they had planned to fine the owner based on city ordinance and Mass General laws about desecration of cemeteries. So that's the only one we still have in question at this point in time, and that's on our basic list. I know I've discussed it with Lisa, but it will be on our next agenda to go back out and look at it, if we can.
Great. Well, thanks for that explanation. It's good to know that it's only one that represents a access issue or a permission issue, I guess, and that the balance of these things are under the city's span of control. And so there's no liability issues or those types of other matters that can kind of get in the way of a program like this being successful. I join with the other councilors that have commended the work the commission's done. I've obviously been part of the presentations that were made to the CPC and so forth about the work that's been done to improve and reconstruct some of the stones in certain places, put up fences, do a lot of that clean-out work that was, I think Councilor Melville mentioned, was tremendously successful at the Old South. So it's great that the commission takes this responsibility so seriously, in honoring these deceased and in a very fitting way. So obviously 100% in support of this program, and I hope it can be successful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Daigle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I will echo everyone else's commendations to the Historic Commission. Thank you. You have an all-star group. I'm looking at Mr. Metropolis, which brings me back to high school. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Thank you guys for doing this and putting this before us. And I do tend to, I'm not on the committee, so thank you for letting me speak, Councilor Turco. I do echo Councilor Manning's concerns about Second Amendment rights and maybe changing some wording about unlicensed weapons. That might be the way to go. We don't want to get into legal terms, but I don't want to complicate it too much. And then my other concern is, without mudding the waters too much, is who is going to enforce all of this. I guess it's the police department. I'm just throwing all of that out there, but more so thanking all of you for doing this. And it's very important, and it's I'm sure we have a lot of family members who respect this and appreciate this, and whatever we can do to support it, I will be happy to participate in. So thank you.
And Councilor Walton.
Thank you, Councilor Checo. Again, thank you all. We all really appreciate the hard work that you're doing. I'm just curious, is there a fee involved with being able to sponsor the cemetery over the course of the year?
No, there isn't.
And I bring that up I'm more familiar with the sponsor an island type thing that we have in Centennial and other parts around the city, and I don't know if it's worth, certainly don't want to hold this up, and I very much support this, but maybe there's an opportunity to symbolically try to find, corporate sponsors. I'm not advocating for putting signage up or anything gaudy like that, but just, maybe there's a way that we could find like friends of this initiative.
Like I mentioned previously, it will be open to the citizens of Peabody and businesses that want to get involved in it. As far as fees, we've checked when we looked around at other towns that are doing Adopt a Cemetery programs, there are no fees involved to any of the sponsors or the citizens doing the programs. And just to add to it, I know I mentioned it to Councilor Gamache, that we looked at Elliott, Maine. Elliott, Maine, for the size of the town, has 164 historic cemeteries, and they have a very successful Adopt a Cemetery program. So that's what we're looking to get going here.
That's great, and awesome work so far, and congratulations, and best of luck with everything else. I think maybe fee was the wrong word, maybe sponsorship is what I was looking for. So if there's an opportunity where, we might have folks in the community that are interested, definitely encourage them to reach out. Thank you.
And Councilor Manning Martin.
I'd be happy to make a motion to support this if everybody.
That would be great, yep.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to support the Adopt Cemetery program before us this evening with one change on page 26C, just insert the word unlicensed before weapons. So moved.
With that, I'll take a roll call vote from the committee.
Councilors Welton,
Yes.
Melville,
Yes.
Gamache.
Yes.
Manning Martin,
Yes.
Turco.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much to everybody. And just briefly, I want to say, I know that we've already said this, you're an amazing group of people. I'm fortunate to serve with many of you on community preservation, and I'm at awe at the amount of work you do and the amount of time that you all put into this city. So personally, I just want to thank you, and I hope there's another generation coming up behind you that sees what you do and will step in to do it. So thank you all for being here on a Tuesday night, and if you need any help from the council, you know that we'll be there for whatever you need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor, any opposed? Meeting adjourned.